Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. In this video, Clare Crawley does not hold back. She says she was robbed and taken advantage of. Now, whether she's talking about Dale Moss or Bachelor producers or a combination of the two, I'm going to let you guys decide in this recent interview she gave. Now, if you know me, you know we love Clare Crawley. Because she's perfect? No. Because she speaks her mind. She talks about her overcoming past trauma. She's an evolved, enlightened person who's trying to do well with her word, and I love that. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. If you want stand-up show updates, behind-the-scene news, and all that can be found at patreon.com/Dave Neal. And every afternoon, and boy, is it growing. You know, we started this thinking maybe we'll get 1,000 downloads a day. We're getting an average of 2,700 downloads a day. Can we break 3,000? Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast. That's where you can go for all of your up-to-date Bachelor news every single afternoon. Link in the comment section below. So I'm going to play this clip we have right here from Bachelor Happy Hour, the award-winning 4-star podcast, Bachelor Happy Hour. We'll get to that in a second, but I do want to give a shout-out to the Dave Neal Show. I've got a breaking news story we just released. Alec Baldwin charged with involuntary manslaughter. I break it all down on the Dave Neal Show, plus a sort of different style of video, the $214 Tesla. I talked about ways you can afford to write the Tesla off for a business expense. Not saying I'm buying one, but I've done the math, and if you want to see the math for as little as $214 a month, you can see right there the Dave Neal Show. It's different. I'm trying something new. The audience doesn't necessarily know what to do with it, but I like it, and if you like me, you could go support that. Okay, here's Clare describing the lessons from her past relationships where she mentions she feels taken advantage of. Have a listen.
One thing that I really want to ask you about, because I know you've talked about your mom, and this is something that you and I have DM'd a little bit about too in the past. But one thing that I really liked, that Ryan proposed to you not only once but twice, and the second time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the second time was in front of your mom, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what was that moment?
Mom suffers from dementia.
Oh, it was a moment that's never happened before. It was a moment that I had never expected. And anything with my mom, because she is still on hospice for dementia and Alzheimer's, that time is so valuable and time is so limited. There was a point a year and a half ago where we thought that was the end. And so to be able to, this is going to make me cry, but to share, I never thought that moment was possible. And I was so upset for so long in my previous relationship because I felt like you took that moment and that time away from me and my mom that was special, that I had been waiting to share with my mom, and that I thought my dad hasn't been able to be around for that. Obviously in spirit, but not physically to be there to say yes.
So she says she was upset. I guess it's a kind of like a bitterness, right? When you're upset about something that happened in the past and you go, how dare they? And this happens a lot in relationships where you feel like the other person has maybe strung you along. You took away my good years. You took away this opportunity. I didn't do all these things. And that always happens when you make decisions or live in a world where you're sort of dependent on the other person. Do you know what I mean? So we get bitter when we feel like we are maybe codependent to somebody else. We're putting their needs ahead of ours. With Clare's situation, it's obviously very unique in that Dale, we can assume that he did love her, right? I mean, we can assume but obviously the real world, it didn't work out. Is that Dale's fault? Well, not exactly. And then also, as it was spoken, I think yesterday we covered this when Game of Roses talked about how Clare was essentially forced out, and part of that was due to a circumstance that she's very unique to, in which she was able to see the cast list of her season because her season was delayed for so long. So she was able to not necessarily follow them on Instagram, maybe from a burner account, but she was able to see, oh, Dale Moss, that's the guy, and she was able to paint all of those red flags white and all the things that we do. No other Bachelor or Bachelorette has been able to do that because no other Bachelor or Bachelorette has had their season delayed the way Clare's was at the beginning of the pandemic. So not necessarily Dale's fault, although we don't know what was said behind closed doors and maybe actions didn't follow words, but for sure the Bachelor producers didn't like the fact that 2 weeks into their taping, she was head over heels for one guy only. But, hey, that's how it works sometimes, she put all of our chips into that basket. We do that in normal life. That's what's confusing here. People go, oh, she did this. She didn't follow the process. First of all, the process sucks. It doesn't work. It's like you're better off, I think, going head over heels and really committing to that one. And if it does work out, you don't have to rewatch the season where you make out with 10 other guys for 10 weeks and, bang in a palapa in, you know what I mean? So like, this is kind of like one of those, well, she took a big swing. It didn't work out.
To witness a proposal or to witness that type of love. And I felt robbed of that before and taken advantage of that before and used for that before and not knowing how precious that is to me. And so this time with Ryan, it's like that moment was so beautiful. And like he got emotional with me, made me so emotional. And he was so just respectful and loving and still is so kind to my mom. Mm-hmm. And so this is what makes me emotional is that you never know like where life is going to lead you. I thought it would be, I waited.
Any follow-up questions from Michelle, just let us know.
So long as I'm 41 years old, going on 42 almost. And
Joseph.
I thought I was so lucky to have that moment with Ryan, with my mom. Mm-hmm. But not only that, my mom's still here. My mom's still giving her best and comfortable and happy right now. And so she's not only able to see that moment, but she's going to be able to, God willing, soon be at my wedding. Mm-hmm. And not only that, for other things that are coming up.
Amazing. We're so happy for Claire. And a wedding it shall be. She's marrying a CEO of a company. Let's go to the 1630 mark. Here's what she had to say about keeping her relationship private, specifically to make sure he wasn't in it for the wrong reasons. Have a listen.
Did you try to take into account this relationship with Ryan now and to try to keep it a bit more private and just very, hold on to it a little bit tighter, closer to your heart?
Good question, Michelle.
Absolutely. As a caveat to that, I made sure not only to keep it closer to my heart, but to keep it private for a while because I needed to ensure, because of previous situations, that this man was in it for me.
I needed to ensure because of previous situations, this man was in it for me, not in me for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Me alone. And
in it for me, not in me for it. Okay.
I needed to know that even if the spotlight wasn't there, even if the cameras weren't there, or even at the social media, the followers, the notoriety, like even if all that is not there, are you still going to want to be around?
Do you like me regardless for what I can do for you? And not to say Claire probably wouldn't do something to help her husband, of course, but it's like start off with a baseline like we're equals. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the guy she found doesn't even have an Instagram, he's got like 200 followers, which is amazing.
Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that there was no ulterior motives and there was no reason for some sort of public gain, whether it be for their business to become successful or just not to piggyback off of what I have kind of been through to get to where I'm at.
Piggyback. Right.
And so it was, I don't want to say like a vetting process type of thing, but it's an extra precautionary thing of I'm going to keep this private. And if I kept it private forever, would he be okay with that?
It's almost like you have two different scenarios. You have Jason Tartick and Caitlin Bristow celebrating 4 years. Congratulations, engaged couple there, who of course have catapulted their fame and sort of, pushed off each other in their respective in similar niches. With Claire, obviously it's different because she came in it from a position where there's a bunch of no names, right? All the guys that are going to be on the show, and they all want something. And the general feeling when you go on these shows, it's look, you have a 1 in 30 chance at love, but you can promote your business, your influencer deals. That all is going to exist anyway. So Claire can be sort of defensive of not wanting them there for the wrong reasons. But when I look at it, there is no wrong reason. Maybe you find love, maybe you get verified and become a life coach. I don't know. I don't know if one's better than the other. Sure, the show is about finding love, but we have to just live in reality that it's not all about that. Late stage capitalism, baby. Everyone's trying to build their social media following so they can get people to donate to their Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal.
He's not going to get fame out of it. He's not going to get the notoriety and the, headlines and the names and the articles and all that kind of stuff. It was important.
I think that's so smart that you did that. And I know that you use the word like not to piggyback off of your past experiences, but I'm a firm believer that of course you are going to navigate based on what you've been through. And where I think a lot of people go wrong is the fact that like when they've been through something to the extent that you've been through, and the heartbreak or the experience is not getting back out there, that's where the failure is. Taking your time to do your homework. Of course, I'm a former teacher, I'm going to use that word, but like you did your due diligence, you did your homework. And frankly, even when, if you were to figure out that Ryan was in it for the right reasons really early on, the pressure of being in the public eye, not for necessarily like the pressure for things to work, but just like the public attention, it's going to be hard regardless of the relationship.
Now, of course, Michelle speaking from a place of truth with her ex-fiance, Nate. Becca also had a guy who, I don't know, Becca's ex wasn't necessarily in it for the wrong reasons. I don't think he was really influencer heavy following their breakup and all that. But yeah, you got to be guarded. There's a lot of factors at play here. By the way, I love Michelle discussing using the teaching analogy. What a missed opportunity for Bachelor Happy Hour to not have like Michelle scores and it's like it's like Miss Michelle grading each of the contestants based off of like a report card score chart, performance, limo entrance, all these different things. The fact they don't, hey, look, I'm not part of their marketing department. All I can do is work for me, but I feel robbed that they haven't given us that version of Michelle, and Claire feels robbed as well. But luckily, Claire's found happiness and she can still tell her story and about all the reasons she feels like she was wronged. But as long as she's not harboring and maintaining that anger, good for her. Shed it, let it out, and then move on with your own happiness. You found out what you don't want. Now you can pursue what you do. All right. Well, you guys pursue what you want and pursue that like button, subscribe, and I got more content coming your way right after this.